Research has shown, and when I was an adjunct professor at Norwalk Community College, something that I enjoyed very well, research has shown that the most effective way to deal with crime is providing opportunities for young people. That same research has shown the least effective method of dealing with crime is a strong law enforcement approach. Don't get me wrong, sometimes a strong law enforcement approach is absolutely necessary. But again, opportunities provision is the most effective. Strong law enforcement approach, the least effective. Do you know what? The same research showed that communities all across the nation get it backwards. They don't provide those kinds of programs that are designed to keep our young people out of prison, to keep them productive, and to keep them out of the crime family, or to keep them out of gangs. But in Norwalk, we do have a lot of programs, but we could always use more. You know, my good friend, Rick Fuller, not only my good friend, a friend of Norwalk for many, many years. He was a teacher, director of Carver Foundation. I know you're starting to cry.
I know.
I am too, baby. And he, no doubt, during his service to our community, touched many young lives in a positive way. You know, Rick knew all he had to do was show these young people that he cared. That's all it took, and Rick was wise enough to know it. Now, I'm going to stop for a moment and introduce Carolyn, Rick's wife.
Thank you.
You know, Carolyn, there was ever a perfect couple, it was you and Rick. You were there, and where you were, Rick was there.
Thank you.
And I want to thank you on behalf of a grateful community for sharing Rick with us for all those years. We know that the vast majority of crime is committed by young people between the ages of 13 and 23. Rick conducted research that showed that behavioral problems begin to be seen in a young child, or be recognizable in a young child, at the ages of 4 or 5 years old. They're formative years. So we need to teach parents and parents and teachers to recognize those indicators early on, so that any child that displays those behavioral qualities can get the help they need. And it is through early intervention programs. We must fund, at all costs, a Head Start program in the city of Norwalk. We must have programs before and after school for our children. And I would... We must continue and expand Norwalk's mentoring program. And we must make sure that all children, you hear me? All children have an opportunity to access those programs. Another program that has been shown to be extremely, extremely effective is universal pre-K. And I would say that we implement a universal pre-K program in the city of Norwalk so young people will early on in life have attention that they need in order to grow and properly develop. Now I want to talk about the government. I promise you a mayor a government that is transparent, inclusive, accessible, and civil. I promise you a mayor that will not only listen to the people, but will hear what it is they have to say. And not be afraid to hear it. My first outreach, if fortunate enough to be selected, would be a monthly mayor's night out. Now, when I first took over as police chief, I started a Meet the Chief meeting. And every month, I would go to a different part of the community. I'd go to Rudner Court, I'd go to Cranberry, I'd go to Wolf Pit, I'd go to Colonial Village, Washington Village, I'd go to Meadow Gardens. Wherever I was needed, I would go, and I'd bring my staff with me. Now, when I first announced this at the Fairfield County Chiefs of Police, and I'm not going to besmirch anybody, believe me, I was told, "Are you nuts? You're going to go out and meet the people? And you want to hear what they have to say? Yeah, be prepared. Be prepared to be criticized. Be prepared to be bombarded." But you know what? It was one of the most rewarding things I ever did, other than the pizza parties for the kids. Because I got to know the people. And they got to know who I was, what I brought to the table, what I represented. And not only did they get to know me, they got to know my officers, because I would bring my department heads with me and let them meet the members of the community that they served. So, a monthly mayor's night out. My department heads will be there too, whether they like it or not. They'll be there because I want them to hear as well what the public's concerns are. And I don't want us to be in a position of telling the people what they want and need. I want it the other way around. Tell us what you want and need and let us be responsive. That's what government is all about. Now, the great late Mayor Ed Koch, God rest his soul, would always say, "How am I doing?" If I'm fortunate enough to ever be able to ask that question, I would hope people would say, "You and your team are doing a remarkable job, Harry."
Good luck with that.
Words of wisdom from a man of experience. So, folks, I'm not going to engage in finger pointing or playing the blame game. That's counterproductive to growth and development and moving this city forward. It's time to look forward, not back. It's time to get Norwalk moving once again. The decisions made during the upcoming municipal elections are going to be critical to the future of this Norwalk. We're at a crossroads, folks. Norwalk is poised to be a thriving, flourishing community once again. I ask you to join me in going down the road to that Norwalk. I need your support. I need the support of your friends and families, and of their friends and families, and of their friends and families. And I'm asking today for that support. I'm asking for your vote. Thank you for being here. God bless you all. God bless Norwalk. And God bless this great land we call the United States of America. Thank you.